All right, we should be live. Hopefully you guys can see me. I am just putting on some music while I do the pre-show, and apparently I'm answering the phone. My vehicle's insurance or warranty or whatever the hell it was. God, I'm so sick of those idiots. Frederick Lawrence, I'm not actually playing the game right now. I'm talking about the game. Although there is if you go to the show notes, which you can find over at runjumpstomp.com, there is a link to the live stream that I did of this game. My warranty is still active. No, my warranty is not active. My cars are paid for. They are paid off. But I am going to be talking about the game, Frederick, so stick around. Stick around. I'll talk about the game a little bit, and then you can check out the live stream that I had of it afterwards. I hope you are all having an awesome day. I am just going to share this to the Discord so that people know that this is where it is, because I usually do this over on at everyone. I usually do this over on my Twitch channel, but I'm not using my Twitch channel anymore. And you know what? I'm going to tweet it out as well. Oh my goodness, look at these. So first off, Aerslia, thank you very much for becoming a member. I appreciate the support. Abel Torado, thank you very much for the super chat. You're asking a really good question. Do I think the Switch is worth buying versus the Lite edition? So, all right. This is a really good question, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn this into a segment for the show. All right? So I'm going to answer your question, Abel, but it's going to be a little bit. I'm going to get the beginning of the show started, and then we will talk about it after the second segment. All right? So stick around, and I promise to answer your question. Before I do get started, I want to thank the following people who became members in the last 24 hours. We had Marcus Zara, Gernoldi, Carlos, Doug, Brett. You guys are awesome, and thank you to Aerslia as well. I love that app, or that extension, the highlight extension. I wish it wouldn't pop up automatically. I'm going to leave this right here so that I can remember to come back to it. Nice Watch Dogs shirt. Oh, that's right. Check out am I in the right spot? Look at this cool Watch Dogs shirt. That's funny. Make myself louder. That's as loud as it gets, man. That's as loud as my microphone gets. It's no lower than any other time. You know what, Lloyd? I do wish that I had purchased the black microphone and the black shock mount so that it would blend in a little bit more. Yeah, Vaxer, are you sure that you don't? Because when I talk, it's going into the yellow, just like it always does. So I don't see anything different than what I usually have, Vaxer. I'm not sure what the problem is. All right, before we get started, I'm going to address the elephant in the room. This is obviously, I'm not talking about Stadia right now. It doesn't mean that we can't talk about Stadia. It just means that the segments that I'm recording right now are going to be Nintendo focused. I'm not going to get into all of my thinking behind it, but I was fed up with Twitch. and I was going to start streaming on YouTube, and I decided rather than having multiple YouTube places and splitting my attention and my audience into different places, I would bring everything together. Now, if you're here for Stadia stuff and you only like Stadia stuff, then just don't click on the Nintendo videos, or maybe Lloyd will do an Xbox video. Don't click on that. But going forward, it's still going to be primarily a Stadia focused channel, but I'm also going to be doing this on probably Mondays. All right. The added benefit being that there's going to be a lot of Nintendo people that come to this channel, and they might find out more about Stadia, which is a good thing because Stadia is awesome. Anyway, I didn't like boxing myself in. Let's talk about video games, but first, I'm going to shut my door so that I'm not bugging everybody with my loud talking. Ooh, Retro 2, yeah. You know, Lloyd, I have an idea for 143 pixels. I have an idea. All right. So, for those of you who are not usually here for Nintendo Switchcraft, the way that that I tend to record the show is I will I'll record a segment and then I stop and kind of talk to chat for a little bit, and then I record another segment and so on. Yeah, exactly, Lloyd. Why reinvent the wheel? Head cheese of Twitch left same week ago? Oh, I didn't know that. All right, so let me bring up my... So Switchcraft has its own Patreon because I've had that since forever. So I'm going to thank our patrons before we get started. Relationship manager? Yeah. And we want to go to... Wait, what the heck? That's not right. They changed... Oh, filters. Okay. They changed Patreon again. I like the way it was before. All right, here we go. Let's shut off the music. I'm going to record the opening. All right, here we go. The following content is brought to you by Mr. Fister, Eric Smith, Orange Thunder, and Abigail 13. This is episode 606 of Nintendo Switchcraft. If you have been wondering, where is Bill on Twitch? It's because I started streaming over on YouTube. So if you want to find that YouTube link, just go to runjumpstomp.com. There is a link that will take you there. I'll also throw a link in. Oh, I was about to say that I'll throw a link in the show notes, but the show notes are on my website as well. So just go to runjumpstomp.com, click on YouTube. That's where I'm streaming now, just to make my life a little bit easier. On this episode, we're going to be talking about some cyber deals that are on the way. My experience with Hyrule Warriors so far. We're going to talk about how to transfer your Animal Crossing save between Nintendo Switches, and a little bit of information about Doom Eternal. So if all of that sounds awesome, then why don't you just sit back, relax, and get ready for episode 606 of Nintendo Switchcraft. So there we go. I got the first segment done. Oh no, Vaxxer, I don't have all that stuff. I'm sorry. Fisto, thank you very much for the support. Thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't have the commands set up. I hadn't thought of that. So, although, you know what I'm going to do? In order to avoid having to have you guys type all that stuff in chat, I can just put it in the description, and then you don't have to. Cyberpunk streaming to the Switch via cloud announcement at Game Awards. You know, that's not a crazy thought. That's not outside the realm of possibility. We already have a couple of games streaming on Nintendo Switch, so it is possible. All right. So we got the first segment done. Did that record? It did. All right, good. Let me hit save. And NSC, what is this? 606. All right. Let's start the show off with Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. I now have roughly 7 hours into that game. And I have to say, this game is an absolute gem. I am having so much fun with it, but it's not perfect. First off, of course, as everybody had noticed during the demo, there are lots and lots of frame drops where, as I'm playing the game, I can see that there's just too much stuff happening on the screen. And because there's so much stuff happening on the screen, the Nintendo Switch, which is this tiny little tablet, just can't keep up. It can't keep up with everything that you're asking for it to do, and so it drops a whole bunch of frames. Has this affected my enjoyment of the game? Absolutely not. It's not the kind of game where, okay, look, it's definitely important to have a stable frame rate if you can have a stable frame rate. And this is definitely an example where a more powerful piece of hardware would be able to run this game a whole lot better. But it's not the kind of game where having a bunch of frame drops is going to impact your gameplay. It's really more of an aesthetics thing. Oh, that doesn't look so nice that it does that. So how far am I into the game? Like I said, I'm about 7 or so hours in. I've unlocked the following characters. Obviously, you start with Link and you get Impa and Zelda like right after. But then I've gone through and I've also unlocked the 4 like big characters. So Rivali and Mifa and Urbosa and Daruk. I feel like I'm getting his name wrong. The big rock guy. I am having an absolute blast with that. It's funny, as somebody who in Breath of the Wild really didn't care for Mifa as a character, I think that Mifa is really fun to play as. I also really liked Rivali in Breath of the Wild, but I'm struggling with being able to use Rivali properly. Each character has their own special ability if you hit the ZR button. So, for instance, Link has the ability, you hit the ZR button, he pulls out his bow, and you can shoot stuff, which is incredibly powerful if you are on a level that has, like, bomb barrels around. So, like, there was this one level where I'm just running through, and it was like, kill 400 enemies or something like that. And every time I would run into a new area, I would just scope out, oh, there's a bomb barrel, and I would arrow it with the ZR button with Link, and it would kill, like, I don't know, 50 enemies or something. It was really, really cool. Zelda has her combat. Each character feels incredibly different. Zelda is always focused on using the Sheikah Slate. So she will alternate between using like Magnesis and Cryonis and whatever the Freezy one is where you stun Stasis, I think it's called, and then the bombs. So as you just hit the X button or the Y button and you kind of spam that, she uses all of those things. But then she'll leave like little tiny ice blocks around or little bombs around, and then you can set them off by activating the runes with her right trigger button. I have not figured out how Mifa's right trigger button works. When you use that, it puts a little fountain of water on the ground, and sometimes she kind of shoots out of it, which is really cool, but sometimes she doesn't, and I haven't been able to figure out what's actually happening there. It's very, very confusing. And then you have Impa, who is she's very, very cool. She can hit the trigger button, and one of the enemies in front of her will have a mark on them, up to 3 characters, and then you can absorb those marks to make copies of yourself, which is really, really weird. And then she's just kind of running around spamming everything. I'm really, really enjoying the game. There are a couple things that I personally would change if I were in charge of it. So first off, the map is kind of overwhelming. If you zoom out so that you can see the whole map, all of the icons become way too small to really figure out what they mean. So then you spend a lot of time zooming in and out of the map. And this is just to choose like what things you want to do. And while I get what they were going for, that they were trying to recreate that open worldness that you saw in Breath of the Wild, to me it's just kind of tedious. And what I wish that they would do instead is just give me a list of missions based on who the mission is really for. So, have a list of characters on the side, and of course on the top have like an all characters for the missions that anybody can do. And maybe I can go into like the Mifa button. I can click on the Mifa button, and it brings up all of the missions that I can do for Mifa, and then separate those into ones that are an actual like mission where you go in and there's combat, and other ones where it's just like, spend these items to upgrade your character. I feel like the map is very, I don't know. It's just a very clunky interface, and I like where they were going with it, but I just feel like that kind of falls flat. Speaking of things that I think fall flat, this is not a story spoiler. It is a spoiler for a gameplay mechanic. So if you don't want to hear it, just plug your ears or take your headphones out for the next 30 seconds. All right. Did you do that? Well, if you did, then you can't hear me. You can drive the divine beasts. And when you get to that point and you're doing that, and I'm not going to say what it is again because maybe people are back by now. When you're doing that, it just isn't fun. Like, that part of the game is not fun. So the first time that it happened, I was like, oh, cool, this is going to be so awesome. And I was very disappointed. And then the second time that it happened, I was like, oh, man, this again, I'm not really interested in this. So I'm hoping that doesn't continue. Like, I'm hoping we just do that like 4 times and we're done, or maybe at most 8 times. But for me, I do not enjoy that part of the game. The combat is really great. And if you've played a Muso game before, this feels a lot less button mashy. It feels a lot more tactical. If you want to button mash to kill like giant swaths of 50 enemies at a time, you could totally do that. But button mashing when you come up against like the captains, it's not going to work for you. You're going to get your tail handed to you, and you're going to get knocked down for button mashing, because basically you do almost no damage to them without breaking their defense first. So how do you do that? Well, it depends on the enemy. So certain enemies will attack different attack different ways, and it depends on what weapons they have too. So a moblin with a sword will have a different attack than a moblin with a club or a moblin with a spear. And it's up to you to learn those attack patterns. And you can do things like dodge out of the way and then go in for I think it's called a flurry. I can't remember what it's called, but you attack really fast by spamming the Y button. Just like in Breath of the Wild. You can also, if you're a shield character, you can deflect at just the right time, and you can even do that with a guardian. So if a guardian is shooting a laser at you, you can bounce that back at them. Or if they're about to wind up and do like a really big attack, usually what will happen is they will, right above their heads, they will show one of the runes for the Sheikah Slate. So like the bomb rune, or Cryonis or whatever. So like if an enemy's charging at you, you can hold down R and press A real quick, and a block of ice comes up out of the ground, and it's right where the enemy was charging. They'll run into it, get stunned, and now you can break their barrier so you can finally do damage to them. It's a whole lot less button mashy than the other Muso games, but it is really, really good. And I'm sad because Nintendo has said we don't really see this as being a series going forward, which is that's too bad. The game is really good. It is. I think I saw somebody say this is the definition of how spin-offs should be. It's awesome. And so if you have not picked it up yet, pick it up. Maybe ask somebody to get it for you for Christmas. It's super fun. I'm really enjoying it. I can't wait to find out what happens in the story so that we can get to that point where, Link is in his coffin and everybody is the way that they are at the beginning of Breath of the Wild. So here's my question that I asked on Twitter, and I forgot that I had asked this, but now I'm going into my Twitter bookmarks so that I can bring it up. And I asked, mailbag topic, what do you think of Age of Calamity so far? Vote and reply with your thoughts. So people voted. Now, 56% of the people who responded, they said, I'm not playing it, which is perfectly fine. But of the people who responded that they're playing it, a vast majority of those people are saying that it's really great. So they are 100%. It is really great. Vaxer replied, he says, I didn't play it, but the game looks like Zelda Breath of the Wild, so I expect it to be as good. Vaxer, I know that you're not a fan of Muso games, so I would recommend that you stay away from it, just because I know your tastes, because you're not a fan of that type of game. Charles Kendall said, I'm interested, but I have to kill some of my backlog first. That's something else, is this game came out when a whole bunch of other games were coming out, which is kind of intimidating. Trevor Allen says, really liking it. I've played about 6 hours total, including demo time, and it's been really fun. For sure, it has slowdown and frames per second issues, but it hasn't hindered my enjoyment of it. And then finally, Sonic Pulsar says, I love it. So, what do you guys think of Age of Calamity? If you're listening to this, you can tweet at me on my Twitter account, or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can leave a comment right down below. I will read all of those comments, as I always do. There we go. We saved, and now, usually what I do is I now read all of the stuff that came in between chat. Yeah, Link is in the game. Spoilers. So very big thank you to Silent Rogue for becoming a member. I appreciate it. We're going to get back to you in a little bit, Abel. And thank you again to Fisto for that. The age of your calamity is 7 hours. Kevin Webb says, I wasn't sure about this game, but after seeing you play the other day, I'm tempted. Quick note, really dig the professor named Lloyd out there. I'm not sure I understand the joke, but I'm there you go. Let's see. Mifa is my jam, just comes natural, but figures since Donnie was my turtle. They do have a list per character? Aerslia, you're going to have to show me that. Hey, Brandy, what's up, man? Oh, you know what? Let's go ahead and mod them, because they're a mod from my Twitch channel. What's up, Johnny? Let's see. What else? Too many wrenches. Nah. These are our favorite people. Ghosty Boy, what's up, man? Why am I doing Nintendo Switchcraft on Stadia Cast? I'm just doing everything in one place. It's easier than dividing my attention and my audience. Hit L and R bumpers on the map to get to the mission tab. All right, well, I'm going to have to make sure that I check that out. Joel Mead says, I never heard the term Muso. I don't know what it stands for. I think that's like what they call the game in Japan, but I think you're spelling it wrong. Well, Aerslia Sliarion, I still remember your name after all this time, and I pronounce it correctly. So I think you're also one of my favorite people. All right, I'm going to record the next segment. Well, I had my show notes all set, and then I had somebody here in chat send in a super chat, which on YouTube is like a highlighted comment that you pay for. And I saw it, and I thought it was a really good conversation to have. So Abel Tirado asks, "Do you think a Switch is worth buying versus the Lite edition?" So honestly, I think that for me, it's got to be the regular Switch. It has to be. But for most people, I think the Switch Lite is probably okay. Now, this kind of leads into or reminds me of something that I wanted to say about Age of Calamity. The font on some games on the Nintendo Switch is just way too small. I was trying to play Age of Calamity. Maybe it's because I'm really, really, really old. Or maybe the developers just are not taking into account the fact that the screen is pretty small compared to, say, a 1080p TV, and it's kind of hard to read the font sometimes. And as far as Age of Calamity goes, it's certainly not the worst that I've seen on the Nintendo Switch, but the font is smaller than I like. Now, maybe there is a setting maybe there is a thing in the settings that'll allow me to increase the font size. I haven't looked because I've spent very little time playing in portable mode on my Nintendo Switch for that particular game. But when Abel asks that question, do I think a Switch is worth buying versus a Lite edition? I think that my preference for what feels good in the hand is the Switch Lite is infinitely superior, in my opinion, to the Nintendo Switch. Because the Joy-Cons are attached, it just feels more solid. It is lighter, obviously, Switch Lite. It's a lot lighter, and it just feels more comfortable to play handheld. So you have to ask yourself, how important is playing on the TV to you? Because playing on the TV, to me, is incredibly important for a couple of reasons. Number one, the font size is usually kind of hard to see. On the Switch Lite, that's going to be even harder to see. So playing on the TV is pretty important. The second thing that I think is important to keep in mind is that I personally am a content creator. So I stream video games. I record YouTube videos about video games. And so with the Switch Lite, I can't do any of that because it doesn't have HDMI out. With the regular Switch, I have to have HDMI out so that I can actually take advantage of that stuff. In fact, when Nintendo announced the Switch, I was already streaming games and stuff. If it didn't have an HDMI out, I was not interested in playing it. I was not interested in trying it even a little. I was going to say, nope, forget it. I'm done. Which means I would have missed out on a lot of games, but I like making content, and I can't make that content without HDMI out. If you're not going to play on TV, if you're just going to play handheld, get the Switch Lite. It's much more comfortable to use. It feels better in the hand. I think that Nintendo did a better job the second time around than they did the first time around. But if playing on the TV is important to you, then you definitely have to get the full Switch, which is $100 more. Also, one more thing to keep in mind, if you want to play games like Mario Party or Snipper Clips, stuff like that, if you want to play couch, either co-op or competitive games where you're sitting next to somebody and playing a game with them, then you definitely want to be able to play that on the TV. So here's another example. I don't know if you can play Ring Fit Adventure on a Switch Lite, but I can't imagine it'd be a good experience because the screen is so small. This is the place where I play most of my games, and I have Ring Fit Adventure. I never play it because I don't have enough room right here to take advantage of it. And there's a ceiling fan right over the TV in the living room downstairs, and I don't want to accidentally like lift the ring up and slam it into the ceiling fan or something. So I just don't use it. I could use it by like just setting my Switch up someplace, but it's just so small. So you really have to make that decision for yourself. I can't answer that question for you, Abel, but I do think it's a good question. So I'm going to tweet this out right after I finish saying this. It's another mailbag topic, and we'll talk about it later on this week. Do you think that the Switch or the Switch Lite is better? All right. If you want to reply to that tweet, I am at Run Jump Stomp on Twitter, and we will talk about it on the next episode of Nintendo Switchcraft. There we go. And let me tweet that out while I'm thinking of it. Mailbag topic. Switch or Switch Lite? Why? Question mark. Switch Lite. And I'm going to tweet that out, and then we're going to view, and you guys get to be the first to vote on that. There you go. FPG Gaming, am I excited for Star Wars Fallen Order coming to Stadia? I absolutely am, but I don't know if I'm going to get it right away because I have so much to play. I've got Assassin's Creed, whatever the hell it is, Viking people, Valhalla, there we go. I've got Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I just picked up Pac-Man. I've got Hyrule Warriors. I've got tons and tons of games to play right now. And I don't know if I can fit in Star Wars right now. So I might wait. Yeah, I don't like that eHuff. I prefer to just have the font get bigger. You know what I mean? Crazy Legs, you just can't go in theater mode. You have to leave it in regular mode. So if you press T to go into theater mode, press T again, and it makes it smaller. But yeah, YouTube needs to fix their UI. I've complained about it quite a bit. Real quick, I've got a code for a game that I'm not going to play that was given to me, and I'm going to give it to you. So somebody in chat can get this game. This game is called, I don't remember. Oh no, where is it? Oh, here it is. Here it is. It's called Colot. It is supposed to be a spooky game on the Nintendo Switch. And I've got a code. They said, "Do you want a code?" And I said, "I'm not really interested." And they said, "Here's a code anyway." So I'm going to give you guys a code. This is for Nintendo Switch. It's supposed to be some kind of scary game called Colot, and it's starring Sean Bean, who was in like Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. Richard, I did text him the code for Pokemon, although I did not tell him about it, so he doesn't know yet unless he looked at his phone. Yes, this is a Nintendo Switch game. So if you are a fan of the Nintendo Switch, then this is a spooky game for you. And I am going to remove one of the letters or numbers. All right. So in this, there is a question mark. That question mark is a number. All right. So here we go. Right now, here's your code for KHOLAT. That question mark is a number. All right. The question mark is a number. Important question. Does Sean Bean die in this game? I don't know. I haven't played it. William Millard. What happened to my Nintendo channel? This is I didn't want to split up everything. It's just easier if I do it here. It's just easier. Easier on me. So there you go. If you claim the game, please let us know. All right? Sean Bean die in this game. That's too funny. Crazy Legs got it. Congrats, Crazy Legs. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it scares you a whole bunch. Is Pac-Man possessed? He moves around a lot. I do move Pac-Man around a lot. William, will we be seeing a rebranding of the channel, such as Game Cats? I don't know what we're doing, man. We haven't really figured that stuff out. Lloyd and I just talked about it, and he said, if you want to do it, I don't care. And you know what? I'm going to bring my other stuff over too. That way we're focusing all of our energy and all of our audience into one place. All right. Let's see. Let's get back to our show. We got to continue this. And let's see. Nintendo. Oh, yes. We got some deals here. All right, everybody. It's that time of year where we had a whole bunch of deals coming. First off, this was dropped into our community Discord. If you are listening to this, head to runjumpstomp.com and you can find a link to the Discord. If you're watching this on YouTube, there's a link in the description down below. Target currently has a family membership for Nintendo Switch Online on sale. This is a year of Nintendo Switch Online for a family. That's, I think, 6 people. Maybe it's 8. It's more than 2. We know that for sure. And it's usually $35, and it's down to $19.99. So if that sounds interesting to you, follow the link in the description, not in the description, in the show notes, which you can find over at runjumpstomp.com, and you can save some money by picking that up. Now, speaking of saving money, I have said this a million times on this show. I've probably talked about it on other shows as well. Wario 64. You want to follow Wario 64. Wario 64 is I'm like the 100% most tweetiest robot that there is. Like, he is constantly tweeting out. Although I feel like he's also manned by a person because he says funny things sometimes too. But Wario 64 is always tweeting out deals, right? Video game related deals. And he was tweeting out a whole bunch of them. And I was seeing them earlier today, and I was like, oh, that's very interesting. I don't want to have to compile them all. Nintendo went ahead and tweeted out basically a whole bunch of games that are on sale right now. So I'm going to bring that up on screen. And it says save big with cyber deals. These are deals that are beginning today at 9 a.m. Pacific time and running until December 2nd at midnight. So let's talk about the games that are on sale, and I'm going to tell you which ones are really awesome games. So we've got Borderlands, Cuphead, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torna the Golden Country. That game is $26. Now, I have not played that. I played the original Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I did not play the follow-up DLC, whatever you want to describe it as. I didn't play that, but I've heard nothing but good things about it. So you definitely want to pick that up if you haven't. Hades, normally $25, down to $20. Everybody has been shouting at me to play Hades. I still have not played it. I don't have time to play to add yet another game, especially one as absorbing as Hades apparently is. By the way, it's on like, I don't know, for the Game Awards, I think it's on there like 7 or 8 times. It must be really good. Just Dance 2021, Skyrim. I mean, if you haven't played Skyrim yet, it's half off, so go buy it. Dark Souls, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. Doom. This is Doom 2016. Fantastic game. I would recommend, if you have another place to play it in another place. But if you only have a Nintendo Switch, then go ahead and play it on the Nintendo Switch. $30 is a good deal for that game. It's really, really fun. Jackbox Party Pack 7. This is the perfect game to play. I haven't played the 7th one. I've played a bunch of the other Jackbox games. It's the perfect game to play at Thanksgiving. Now, with COVID Thanksgiving, obviously you shouldn't be gathering with people that you don't live with, but use Discord. You can use Discord and make a Jackbox Discord. Like, you can make your own Discord, and you can make a Jackbox thing, invite everybody in, and you guys can play it together. It's really awesome. Wolfenstein 2, I haven't played it, so I don't know anything about it. The Outer Worlds, really great RPG. That's $30. I heard not great things about the Switch version, so I'm not sure about that. Dragon Quest Builders is really awesome. That's $25, but honestly, I would say skip it and wait for the second one, which may or may not be on sale. I'm not sure. This list is really, really long, so I'm obviously not going to go through all of them. I'm scrolling through right now to see what stuff jumps out at me. Divinity Original Sin 2 is a fantastic game that is $34.99 down from $49.99. I'm going to continue scrolling. Zelda Link's Awakening. That game is fantastic. It's super fun. If you haven't picked it up, you absolutely should. And the same goes for Xenoblade Chronicles 2. That's $40 down from $60. That is an amazing RPG. If you're looking for another good RPG, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate is a really fun action RPG. That's only $16. That's probably because they know that Monster Hunter Rise is going to come out. And then once that comes out, people are not going to be buying Generations Ultimate. But Generations Ultimate is really good. And then we've got Diablo 3, one of the greatest games ever made. I have bought that game so many times and played through it so many times. I've got hundreds upon hundreds of hours in Diablo 3. It's awesome, and it's really good on the Nintendo Switch. Make sure that you pick that up if you haven't played it. And then lastly, people in chat are talking about Superhot. Superhot is the most innovative first-person shooter that I have played in years. And I guess I'll do two more. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, $47.99. Not much of a discount, but that game is incredibly fun. And Shovel Knight Treasure Trove. It is a huge game, side scroller, as if it had come out on the NES, but super awesome gameplay. Shovel Knight is fantastic. It's already a good deal at $40, but it's actually only $20, and that's I think it's like 5 games. Actually, it's really, really good. So those are some deals that are going on between now and December 2nd. If you need more, if you want to see the rest of the list, go to the show notes, runjumpstomp.com. Oh man, episode's getting long. What is happening here? No, that was save. That was not on Deku Deals. That was just Nintendo tweeted that out. Go to runjumpstomp.com and you'll see the tweet. Hey, Stadia Vet Gaming, how's it going, man? FPG says, guys, just want to say this right now. There's some cloud gaming scams. An example of this is Boosteroid would say they have Fortnite, GTA, and lots of other cloud gaming platforms don't have. Okay. I don't know what Boosteroid is. It sounds like something that you want to go buy a cream for. No, thank you. Kodiak Moonwolf says, play it, Bill! Play Hades, Bill! That's what you sound like, Kodiak. Good night, Richard. Thanks again for that code, man. My boost rods are flaring up. Oh, Lloyd, that's too funny, man. All right. Let's open this up. I actually haven't read this yet. Okay, there's 7 steps. Let me hit save. I find it ridiculous that the game came out in, we'll say, February, and now we're at November, the end of November, it feels like, and we just now got the ability to transfer Animal Crossing New Horizons save file to a new console. This is ridiculous to me. It is ridiculous that Nintendo launched this game that is so absorbing and people put hundreds of hours into, and you weren't unable to transfer the game to a new system. So if your Nintendo Switch broke, I can understand if we're talking about like a home console that doesn't move anywhere, but when you're talking about a portable console, it is ridiculous to me that the game did not launch with this. Now, I've spent a long time complaining about this on the show before. Well, luckily, I'll never have to complain about it again. Because whether you want to move your entire island or just one character, you do need to have both Nintendo Switches on hand to do the transfer, but you can now transfer from one Switch to the other, which is not something that you could do for a very long time and is ridiculous. So, if you want to move your Animal Crossing's New Horizons island to a different Nintendo Switch, first off, you have to keep in mind this will delete the data off of your original Switch. So Switch A and Switch B, it's going to delete it off of Switch A and move it to Switch B. That's so that you're not copying save files, although I don't know why anybody would care. So here's what you have to do. You have to download Animal Crossing New Horizons Island Transfer Tool from the eShop on both Nintendo Switches. You make sure New Horizons is updated to the latest version on both consoles. You launch the Island Transfer tool on both consoles and follow the on-screen instructions. Once the transfer finishes, launch the game on the new Switch. When asked about existing resident data, select Existing Data. Select the villager name that matches the villager that you were playing on the previous Switch. Make sure it matches with the Switch user account you were using on the previous Switch for that character. And if you brought over more than one character in the save transfer, make sure that people's characters match the Switch user account when logging in. They'll only need to do this the first time that they sign into the new Switch for the first time. So that actually doesn't seem all that complicated. It's crazy to me that Nintendo didn't have this launched with the game. Now, what if you want to just move your villager, not the entire island, but just your villager? There's a lot more. There's a lot more steps. I am not going to read through them all. Go to runjumpstomp.com and follow the link in the show notes. This is episode 606, and you can find that information yourself. But if you are perhaps somebody who's getting a better battery switch for Christmas, or maybe you have been sharing a Nintendo Switch with somebody, like let's say that you had a Nintendo Switch and you and your family were sharing that Switch to play Animal Crossing, everybody together, and maybe Santa is going to bring everybody their own Nintendo Switch. Now you're going to be able to transfer all of the characters and their stuff to their independent Switches, and that's just going to make everybody's life so much easier. When the game first came out, I feel like I remember people tweeting at me that their spouse was enjoying the game so much that they ended up buying another Switch, and then they had to start from scratch, which is just not a cool thing. Anyway, let's move on. We're gonna talk. We're gonna go from the most family-friendly game in the world to the least family-friendly game in the world. Maybe not the least, but it's certainly not a family-friendly game. Doom Eternal. There's rumors that it's been canceled. I'm here to tell you it has not. The physical version has been canceled. Now, why did Nintendo or did id Software or ZeniMax or whoever owns it now? Why did they cancel the physical version of Doom Eternal? Probably because it's so big. They were probably trying to fit it down to cartridge size. They couldn't get it down to cartridge size, to a small enough cartridge size that would not cost them extra money, because cartridges are expensive. And so they said, you know what? Screw it. We'll just do a physical only or a digital only release, and then we can be done. And you know what? I know that there's people out there that really, really want to have physical versions of everything. But if you were, I bet you this game was going to be more expensive than it should have been based on the cartridge. Like, I bet you that they would have increased the price by $10 or something. Or maybe they would have canceled it altogether and say, we can't launch this game and make money if we have to pay for these cartridges. So I think it's perfectly fine that they've decided we're going to go with a digital only release for Doom Eternal. Is that going to tick off some people? I think so. But for me, I think that that's probably the best case scenario. Now, if look, I've played Doom Eternal. I've beat Doom Eternal. That game is really, really good. People in chat are talking about the Isabel / Doom Guy crossovers. Those were fun because they both released the same month. Anyway, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, if you can play Doom Eternal on, say, an Xbox or a PlayStation or a PC or Google Stadia, I recommend that you play it in one of those places instead. And the reason why is because it's going to be so much better looking, and it's going to play so much smoother on those platforms than it will on the Nintendo Switch. But if you don't have one of those other platforms and your internet isn't good enough for Google Stadia, then pick it up on Nintendo Switch because it's a really, really good game. All right, I've got one more thing to talk about, and this is only going to take like 30 seconds. Happy birthday to F-Zero. 30 years ago today, F-Zero came out, or yesterday, sorry, 30 years ago yesterday, the November 22nd, F-Zero released on the Super Famicom. Back in 1990, I was a freshman in high school. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that. That's it for this episode of Nintendo Switchcraft. If you want to check out the community Discord with over 1,500 other people, if you want to watch the YouTube channel, if you want to get a hold of my Twitter, you can find all of that stuff on my website at runjumpstomp.com. Before we get out of here, I do have to thank our patrons. These are the people, our awesome patrons who are supporting at the producer level or higher, and I'm trying to click on it and bring it up on screen right now. That would be people like Matt Hadfield, John Eisenmenger, Bowser, Travis McGuire, and Sean Bustler, who changes his name every time, and he says Hades is the game of the year. Thanks for listening, everybody. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. We did it. Is it F30 now? That's awesome, Joel Mead. All right. So look at that. We did a Nintendo show. And if you're a Stadia fan and you're here, hopefully you enjoyed it. So is this episode 1? Yeah, episode 1. I do wish I could get all of the old episodes and bring them back over. Jem says, since this is Switchcraft, I can genuinely say to Bill, play Crash on Switch. Oh, that game's on sale. Crash Team Racing is on sale, Jem. Where is it? Crash Team Racing is on sale on Nintendo Switch. I think. Yeah. Here you go. It's currently $20 on the eShop, down from $40. CTR is really good, but it's not as easy / simple like Mario Kart. I prefer, well, okay. I can't say that I prefer Mario Kart because I've never played Crash Team Racing, but I love Mario Kart, and it's tough for me to. Oh yeah, that is weird, Lloyd. Why is that not $19.99? It's so weird, like, because even the regular price is $40. Why the hell is that $20? Hey, Rain Cloud Gaming, how's it going, man? All right, close that, and I can close that, and I can close that, and I can close. Actually, I need to leave those open so I remember to do that stuff. Aerslia is asking the real questions. Why the hell is everything 99 instead of just even numbers? Dante Armstrong says, so what's going on with Twitch? I'm done with Twitch. Well, okay, I'm fed up with Twitch right now. Maybe they'll change their minds about stuff, but like they've done a lot of things that I don't like recently. And then the straw that broke the camel back was them saying, rather than give you tools to deal with the DMCA claim on your account, just play games without sound turned on. To which I'm like, screw you. Like, that's just laziness. So I was really fed up with them. And I decided to stream this over here. Plus, one of the advantages, if you're like a Stadia fan, one of the advantages is this is going to bring non-Stadia people to this channel, and then they're going to hear about Stadia stuff, and maybe they'll start playing some Stadia stuff too. Aerslia says, to be honest, I know why they do 99. It's because psychology. Yes, I know about that. But, you know, we all know what it actually is. It's not actually tricking anybody these days. I also think it's ridiculous that in this country at least, they don't have the tax calculated ahead of time. If I go to a store and I go to buy something in a store, it says like $19.99 on the price tag. And then I have to like get out a calculator and do math in order to know how much I need to have in my, I mean, it's not so much really a problem anymore now that everybody just pays for everything with their phones or whatever. But, you know, when I used cash to pay for things, I would have to know, do I have enough money in my pocket to pay for this thing? Fisto, here's the thing. It doesn't matter how much gas costs. People are going to think I'm crazy, but it does not matter how much gas costs because you have no choice. You have to buy it. I have to buy gas. I have no choice. So what do? I buy gas, and I don't care how much it costs because I don't have a choice. Otherwise, my car doesn't do anything. Dante Armstrong, thank you very much for becoming a member. I appreciate you. You are awesome. No, Jem, we don't see the tax included price. Oh my God, Huff, I do remember that. Yeah, because you would take off like the bottle cap off your soda, and you would look at it, and inside it would say like, 1 free soda, or better luck next time, sucker. And then you could take it to the store and give them the bottle cap, and they'd give you another soda. That was cool. Airsley, I know you were joking about the gas thing. A friend of mine, I don't know if he still does, but like 10 years ago, he had at his house, he had them bury a gas tank, a giant gas tank, and he would order gas, and so somebody would come deliver gas to his house, and he would use that to fill his car. Which is like the weirdest thing. Nakanu, surely you would choose your regular fueling place based on the least in part on price. No, I choose where I fuel my car based on where I am. Now, if I have 2 gas stations like across the street from each other, Actually, no. I don't even bother looking. I just go and get gas when I need gas. Is he still alive? I assume he's still alive. I just haven't talked to him in, I don't know, a long time. Oh, the show went long today. The show went long, you guys. I'm sorry. Options? No. Track? No. Extensions. Here we go. Loudness. Nintendo of America just tweeted. Meet Franklin this Tuesday to celebrate Turkey Day with your island residents. He might be a first-class chef, but even pros can use a helping hand. Here, I'll retweet that. I know, there was actual Nintendo news. Oh, no. Well, here's the advantage there, Johnny. The advantage is on YouTube is you can rewind and rewatch it. Yeah, you like this music, Rain? All right, everybody. That is it for me today. I would love to tell you that I'm going to stream tomorrow, but I'm not. I've got an eye appointment so I can look at my eyes and maybe I can get myself some new glasses. All right. And then Wednesday. Ooh, I should have talked about this on the show. Maybe I'll record that afterwards. On Wednesday, I have a doctor's appointment, so I won't be able to stream. And then Thursday is obviously Thanksgiving. However, I do have a video that's coming out tomorrow on this channel. All right, a Stadia video. It's already uploaded and everything. I'll release it tomorrow. All right. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I'll see you next time. Stay awesome, everybody. Bye-bye. Where's the button? Here we go. I'm going to have to change this slide or something.